All right, today I want to begin with a bit of a story. How many of you watching this right now have heard of Icarus? For those that haven't, Icarus is an ancient story from Greek mythology about an inventor and his son trying to escape an evil king. Daedalus, the greatest inventor of his generation and Icarus's father, created wings made from feathers and wax. These wings were made to perfectly mimic the anatomy of birds and allowed both him and his son to fly. This is where the moral lesson of Icarus comes from, because as they flew, overwhelmed by a sense of arrogance and hubris, Icarus began to fly closer and closer to the heavens. Ignoring his father's many warnings and believing himself to be invincible, somehow above the rest of the world, both physically and spiritually, he started to fly so high that the heat from the sun began melting the wax of his wings. Icarus would ultimately drown in the Black Sea after his wings had fully collapsed after melting in the sun, but the story serves as a warning to those who are consumed by their perceived status and power. The desire to fly higher is not always safe, and though the story is, of course, a fiction, the lessons it teaches are timeless. Today, I'd like to tell the story of BitBoy as he flies ever closer to the sun, carried on wings made of wax, just like Icarus, before falling to his metaphorical death, consumed by social media attention and peer gratification. Let's get started. Who is BitBoy? BitBoy, also known as Ben Armstrong, is a social media influencer with 1.45 million followers. His various different channels, including Twitter and YouTube, have been aggressively used for years to promote various different crypto schemes. But more recently, in the aftermath of FTX, Ben Armstrong, aka BitBoy, has turned his eye towards a series of other exploits. Consumed by a sense of self-importance, maybe, BitBoy has been seeking out extremely hostile interactions with celebrities. He has been spreading rumor after rumor with regards to a larger conspiracy behind the collapse of FTX, and he has been positioning himself as a savior of the industry who had knowledge of fraud long before the public ever knew. All of this, in a twisted, modern sort of way, reminds me of the mythology behind Icarus, because as he is propelled to ever-increasing new heights by his legion of social media fans, he is getting closer and closer to that final moment when the wings melt off and a lonely, naked man comes hurtling back to the surface of the earth, supported by nothing but empty air. Without further ado, let's take a look at the deceptive, arrogant, and misleading life of BitBoy.
But this one is going to a billion. I see an easy 100x in a matter of months for this one. If you don't get in before this rebrand announcement, you will be kicking yourself forever, or at least until you die.
Ben Armstrong is currently obsessed with taking down the prior CEO of FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried. His singular mission seems to be massive engagement on social media as he aggressively speculates on and even tries to physically hunt down SBF in the Bahamas. While doing this, he has resorted to tactics that one might consider to be stalking or harassment or any number of unsavory terms. But ignoring the emotional aspect of all this, let's examine who he was before this now viral attempt at becoming the people's champion. Before this tidal wave of shallow credibility, BitBoy Crypto, aka Ben Armstrong, was a scammer for hire. Posing as a potential partner, internet sleuth ZachXBT, whose work was invaluable while constructing this video, I'll link to his social media down below in the description, obtained documents that showcase precisely how the process works. Ben Armstrong, during the peak of his scamming career, would offer a series of options to potential projects, who then paid the money and received promotions. Confronted by CoffeeZilla, BitBoy claimed that he personally vetted potential partners, denying, quote, 99% of them, while accepting just 1% of partners for actual publication. In the same tweet, he simultaneously says, I personally rigorously vet all paid promotions, as well as, we don't promote anything. Obviously, those two phrases are mutually exclusive. Even an idiot can see that. He absolutely did do various different promotions. Let's start with a central example from which we can build a strong foundation. This is PAMP. PAMP is a scam. Initially pumped in price to over $2, it has since gone to zero, with less than maybe a couple dollars in daily volume. Effectively, everyone who got suckered into this token after a certain point lost everything. And one of the people pushing this token was BitBoy. Now, the video itself is currently unlisted. I'll link it down below, no problem there, but it showcases a clear, self-disclosed, paid promotion of the PAMP token, in which Ben Armstrong has a bit of a Freudian slip, calling it the pump token.
What if I told you there's a project guaranteed to increase in price? You don't want to miss PAMP. I'm pumped up to talk about this one.
Still, jokes aside, he elaborates that he does fair reviews with his team and that they won't promote something unless they dig deep into it, which is exactly what they allegedly did with PAMP.
But you definitely don't want to miss this one. I do fair reviews with my team, and I won't promote something that we don't dig deep into, and that's exactly what we did.
One small problem, PAMP was, by every single conceivable definition out there, a pump and dump scheme where influencers like Ben Armstrong simply served to generate exit liquidity. That term, for those unfamiliar, is very common in the world of crypto and refers to the practice where new investors need to be lured in so that prior investors, with big air quotes around that, can dump tokens on them and get out of the scam. This is exceptionally common in the industry and happens at scale every single day. For PAMP insiders, BitBoy Crypto was one of their chosen mechanisms to produce this liquidity, aka fresh suckers, and dump everything that they hold on unsuspecting retail investors. So why does it matter? It matters because BitBoy is now some sort of quasi-celebrity detective in the crypto world, and yet his past is just about as shady as humanly possible. To demonstrate this and create a sort of callback for later, we need to talk about another YouTuber named Atazi. Atazi created a video in November of 2021 called "This YouTuber Scams His Fans, BitBoy Crypto," in which he mercilessly criticized BitBoy's track record, particularly the PAMP scam promotion, while also highlighting some other issues. It's an excellent video, by the way, and I'll link that down below as well. Here's the thing. Ben Armstrong, BitBoy Crypto, was anything but pleased about this, deciding that his best course of action was to sue Atazi on the basis of defamation for causing damage to his business and severe anxiety. He initially filed the lawsuit on August 12th, 2022, but after less than 2 weeks, on August 24th, 2022, he announced on a live stream that he was dropping the lawsuit. Interestingly, he said this about why it was filed in the first place on that very same live stream.
But yeah, so we are going to drop the lawsuit 100%. And I'm sorry this became public. I'm sorry that this has been, misconstrued. But I just want you guys to understand why. It's not frivolous. When someone implies that you can be in trouble from the SEC, that is not frivolous, guys. That's a very, very, very serious matter. That is not frivolous, guys. That's a very, very, very serious matter.
It's important to understand the context on this. BitBoy, Ben Armstrong, promoted a blatant scam to his audience. Atazi, another YouTuber, covered that scam, calling it out for what it was, and BitBoy decided to sue him. After the suit was filed, additional creators began to cover the issue, a spectacular real-time example of the Streisand effect took place, and larger crypto investors even jumped in at the chance to donate money towards Atazi's legal fees, which spurred, in less than 2 weeks, a complete reversal by BitBoy, who ran away with his tail between his legs. Suffice it to say, a scammer is often a coward, and BitBoy Crypto exhibited these characteristics extremely well. However, let's go deeper. It turns out BitBoy Crypto has promoted numerous different scam tokens, and now, in the face of renewed scrutiny as a result of his escalating hubris, he has begun deleting those videos and hiding them from the public. Let's take a look at Lock, also known as Meridian Network. This token went from 0.06 of a penny, very small initially, to 6 millionths of a penny, in what can only be described as one of the most obvious scam projects in human history. The website is now dead, the Twitter has been completely purged, and BitBoy has deleted his videos, both of them, that heavily promoted the project to all of his fans. Recovered by ZachXBT, we can also look at Zao Finance, a token that exit scammed, meaning a singular moment in time where the funds were stolen and removed by the criminals behind the project, where BitBoy directly promoted the coin on Twitter, only to delete that promotion once the scam had been fulfilled. How about another one? DISTX. This one was heavily promoted by BitBoy, even so far as to have an officially announced partnership between them. Flash forward, and the official Twitter account has been deleted, while the token lost nearly 100% of value because it was yet another blatantly obvious pump and dump scam. Yet again, Ethereum Yield, ETHY, where BitBoy Crypto did an entire dedicated video on the project, and the price is now down almost 95%, wiping out all his fans, and he has since, of course, deleted the video. The list goes on and on and on. BitBoy Crypto has promoted an entire portfolio of rug pulls, scam projects, and deceptive tokens, after which he will take down, turn private, or full-scale delete evidence after the damage has already been done. But we're not even close to being done with him. In the aftermath of FTX collapsing, BitBoy has championed himself as one of the most hardcore advocates against Sam Bankman-Fried, possibly on planet Earth. For fuck's sake, he's even in the Bahamas right now, or was a day ago, harassing Sam at the Albany, demanding justice for all the people that were scammed. But let's dig into that. Less than 1 week before FTX imploded, BitBoy came out with a sort of apology video of sorts, saying that there is a problem with token promotions in the crypto space, and saying it needs to be eradicated completely. He admits to having done these promotions in the past, but more importantly, he makes a list of what is and is not okay to promote. One of his what works items is exchange sponsorships, and that's where we need to start looking. Turns out that BitBoy has directly promoted FTT, the token of FTX, now recognized as one of, if not the biggest frauds in all of crypto history. BitBoy said that everything SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried, touches turns to gold, continuing on to claim that FTT was one of the only tokens that could go up during a bear market. All we have is this condensed clip right now. I was unable to find the original for this one. I suspect because evidence is being systematically deleted. The track record here is abysmal, but it gets worse. Celsius Network, a lending platform that declared Chapter 11 bankruptcy early on, while myself and numerous other creators constantly warned about its unsustainable business model, was one of BitBoy's most frequent promotions on the channel. Here he is, calling it the hottest DeFi project of 2020, when Celsius is the very antithesis of decentralized finance, in fact. And this video contains over 45 minutes of BitBoy platforming and promoting Alex Mashinsky. But when Celsius inevitably declared bankruptcy, BitBoy would begin to say things like, "You can't possibly ever support Celsius Network or CEO Alex Mashinsky in any way." Basically, the perfect 180. This man is a fraud of the highest order, and I fully recognize that he is most likely too stupid to adequately respond here and might file a lawsuit as he did with Atazi, but let's discuss that angle as well. Remember, Atazi highlighted instances where Ben Armstrong, BitBoy Crypto, exposed his audience to paid advertising on scam projects for his own benefit, and the response was to sue him for defamation, but the truth is not defamatory. Anyway, however, more recently, BitBoy has been relentlessly attacking Kevin O'Leary, a host of Shark Tank, the famous show, for his involvement with FTX and his defense of Sam Bankman-Fried. Whether or not you believe that Kevin O'Leary was involved, whether or not you believe that Sam Bankman-Fried should be stalked, harassed, imprisoned, what have you, BitBoy decided that attacking Kevin O'Leary was so important, he would stoop, well, he'd stoop down to this. It turns out that Kevin O'Leary's wife, as per the police report and court documents, was found not guilty after a boat crash resulted in the deaths of 2 people. Whether or not Kevin was really the one driving the boat, as BitBoy alleges numerous times, whether or not the other boat was actually driving with no lights on, which is illegal and makes it harder to see, whether or not the entire thing is some elaborate conspiracy or not, Mrs. O'Leary, not Kevin himself, was charged with a crime and found not guilty by a court of law. What does BitBoy do? Takes to social media saying, quote, "The fact is Kevin O'Leary is a murderer," end quote. Now, unlike the frivolous bullshit lawsuit levied by BitBoy against Atazi, that right there actually is defamation. In a long, drawn-out, and mostly one-sided feud with a business mogul, BitBoy is now making factual claims that the person is a murderer.
That is not frivolous, guys. That's a very, very, very serious matter.
When court documents, evidence, and judge ruling have clearly outlined, for the purpose of legality here, that Kevin O'Leary was not driving the boat, his wife was innocent of manslaughter, of what she was accused, and that the case should be dismissed. That right there is Icarus flying way too close to the goddamn sun. Here's a bonus. As if pushing Celsius Network wasn't enough, only to turn on it after Chapter 11 bankruptcy was declared, thus investors had all of their funds frozen, or defaming a business mogul with literally murder accusations, promoting scam token after scam token after scam token, and even pushing FTT as he rebrands himself as a crypto savior, BitBoy also decided it would be a good idea to plagiarize content for his YouTube channel. Exposed by a journalist named Vince, no idea how to pronounce that last name, on Twitter, BitBoy had taken his prediction article, word for word here, not inspired by or quoted, stolen with precision, and voiced it inside his own video about a project called Tezos.
Tezos is a blockchain that has never operated on the proof-of-work protocol. As a result, the proof-of-stake environment that Tezos is built is far more robust than the current state of creating new Ethereum via proof-of-work. The other big thing to mention here is Tezos' applications, teams, and projects are traditionally centered around security and audit of smart contracts. The proof-of-stake elements of Tezos are no exception. Staking your Tezos is extremely easy to do and can be done both from a personal wallet or from an exchange such as Coinbase or Kraken.
Alright, so I'm not going to go anymore here, but I needed to make this video, needed to call this guy out. This guy just blatantly plagiarizes people. I don't know who else he's done it to, but I know as someone who just wrote their first piece of content on this subject, that this guy just blatantly plagiarizes people. So I hope this message gets out there and people can make their own opinions about it. Thank you.
In the grand scheme of things, by itself people might not think it's a big deal. BitBoy Crypto, Ben Armstrong, is unhinged. Think about this in context. A YouTuber who previously took tens of thousands of dollars per project to promote tokens starts wholesale deleting the videos, promotions, tweets, and articles that pertain to the scams after the scam has absconded with the cash. That same influencer fires off baseless lawsuits when called out for such behavior under the guise of defamation, while going on to state as a fact that business mogul Kevin O'Leary is a murderer because of a settled court case where his wife was found not guilty. In addition, he plagiarizes content, offers stone-cold guarantees of financial return, despite the fact he is not a registered financial advisor, and yet the tokens that he claims are 100% moonshot, get-rich-quick options perform like this. His entire video library is a goldmine of incriminating behavior. Dozens of the worst projects in the entire space were relentlessly promoted by him for personal gain, resulting in untold damage to investors. Now he is traipsing across the world to get kicked out of hotels as he tries to hunt down another crypto scammer, takes one to know one, and cement his place as some sort of credible, altruistic crypto Batman. BitBoy, Ben Armstrong, is a pest. He is a disease in the community that somehow tricked enough people into watching him or believing him that he can ride a wave of outrage across the world and maybe, if he plays his cards right, sanitize his reputation in the process. Whether or not he is allowed to do so remains to be seen, but Icarus, in my opinion, has flown far too close to the sun here, and his wings are currently melting. If you want support, check out the links down below. If he sues me, I already have an entire game plan mapped out. But I'll keep you posted. Have a nice night.